Okay, so we just finished week 4, and man, we got a ton of great games. Again, I feel like this was probably my favorite week of the season. The Raiders also won, but that's not going to stop me from getting mad today. I am going to start screaming my head off. So get ready, because we got a fun one. So let's get into the recap. Oh yeah, I mean, if you got a slant fetish, then boy do I have an American football game for you to watch. And if you're one of those sick who enjoys games like these, Wan'Dale Robinson might be your favorite player in NFL history, because when Malik Neighbors was double-teamed, that's pretty much what the Giants' offense boiled down to. Daniel Jones throwing it to Wan'Dale Robinson on a slant, because with the Cowboys' massive weakness being their piss-ass run defense, the Giants, with Devin Singletary, were not able to take advantage of that, and were forced to throw. And when your best chance of winning the game as a Giants fan is having Daniel Jones throw the ball better than Dak Prescott, I mean, you might as well just start loading the revolver already. So yeah, the Giants battled hard, but I mean, there's no way me and you didn't watch this whole game and not have the realization that these are two not good teams. The Giants, we know, aren't good, and literally the only positive thing I wrote about them all game is that, yes, can confirm Malik Neighbors is still one of the fastest kids on the playground, but the Cowboys, who already looked out of sync on offense with still absolutely zero run game, are going to have to really ramp up the points with injuries, and injuries, with DeMarcus Lawrence being the worst of the bunch for the Cowboys, knocking him out for about a month, and with the Commanders damn near being the best team in the entire NFC, the Cowboys better pray that CeeDee Lamb can keep carrying the offense on his back, because, I don't know, maybe the playoffs are not looking good for you, Dallas. And even for me, the biggest Cowboys hater that I could find out there, I don't know. I still thought they were going to make the playoffs, but at this point, I am getting worried. What in the fuck did I just watch? Who comes up with these game scripts, man? I mean, this game just felt like a fever dream, and I don't even have a dog in this fight. This was always going to be a game that was going to end up being absolutely integral to the NFC South crown, and it was, but let me try to walk you through this game and explain it to you like you've never even heard of football, because that's the only way I think I can do it. The Saints were the better team. They were making less mistakes, their offense looked really solid and was making smart decisions for the most part, and New Orleans was easily going to win this game. But because their second best receiver forgot how to not catch a ball inside the 5, and because a 34-year-old Mormon suffered his 7th car accident of the week, the Falcons began to come back into the game, scoring more points. None of which came from the offense, and Kirk Cousins looked uncomfortable as fuck. Well, I mean, Kyle Pitts must have clearly fucked someone's wife or something, because I don't understand. They killed the man, but not the idea. How does this keep happening? So while the Falcons were busy trying to see how far their fist could go up their own ass, Clint Kubiak and the Saints just, they couldn't do anything. It's hilarious. Without Taysom Hill, the NFL's most efficient offense through 2 weeks, simply does not know how to function. And eventually, the Falcons clawed their way back into the game with another, I repeat, another non-offensive touchdown. And I can't believe it, but the Falcons were now leading the game. But the Saints can still offense sometimes, and Derek Carr was diming up statistically the best wide receiver in the league apparently in Chris Olave, and now the Saints were in a position where they were clearly going to win the game, but they definitely weren't going to be very happy about it. So, 4 tries in the 5-yard line. Let's just punch it in and then move on to the next.
Here's Kamara, fake to Kamara. Carr, here's Kamara, and he is bottled up. 4th and goal, pressure on Carr, throws to the end zone, incomplete.
Okay, well, luckily, the Falcons are playing their worst game all season, basically, so the Saints got it back and then scored a touchdown, and now it was up to the Saints' defense. Could they stop Kirk Cousins, the captain, Big Kirko? Can they stop him from leading a game-winning drive? And what a legacy drive it was. Kirk only had like 5 passing yards, and even that was immediately brought back by a penalty, and the Saints' pass interference call gave the Falcons a chance for potentially the biggest robbery of the entire season. Don't do it, Youngway. You can't.
Youngway coup from 58! It is good!
I simply cannot believe it. The Falcons won this game, man. I mean, it was fun for like 2 weeks, right, Saints fans? But no. You can't have fun. You just can't. Your team suffered a little too many owies, and it's not going to get better anytime soon. I mean, Kamara's been playing through broken ribs, and he's still getting workhorse volume, which is not easy. Trust me, I played golf last weekend with a sore hammy. I feel his pain. But, you know, Saints, I guess you're not as boring as you were last season, and you're still a solid team if you can get healthy, but I don't care. How did you let the Falcons pull this game out of the—
Oh my God, I'm about to cut.
Football's so great, isn't it, man? I mean, this sport's gotta be one of mankind's greatest achievements, right? God damn, man. The feeling I got, the testosterone boost I received when I saw all 6'6", 250 pounds of raw sex appeal known as Joseph Flacco come back onto the field. It was just as glorious as I remembered. That's what this season has been missing, the Flacco. Andy's come back, Rodgers is back, but Joe was the originator, and he ended up getting it done too. He wasn't perfect, okay, I'll admit it, but rust should be expected, and he managed to close out the game against the best defense in professional football once again, straight off of the couch. I mean, I swear, dude, at this point, I'm like 3 clicks away from buying like 10 Joe Flacco jerseys. But, listen, I think it's time. Take a seat, because this is going to be a bit of a hard talk, an emotionally taxing one too, so— but I think we need to have it. You know what I'm about to say too, right? The Anthony Richardson panic button needs to be pressed now. The guy just, he isn't it. In his current version right now, he just still has way too much to work on. He's obviously still super young, but like, come on, bro. You can't go through the whole offseason not knowing how to throw a 4-yard check down or slide correctly. I mean, that's like 60% of playing quarterback, and I don't know if this connects with you, but I heard someone say that Anthony Richardson is basically the new Jameis Winston, and I hate it, but I just might agree. Because if AR finished this game, the Colts probably don't hold on. Now, Justin Fields played really well in the second half, especially with all their injuries in the backfield, but the Colts defense was just playing so well early on, and the Steelers were playing catch-up for the entire second half, and against Joe Flacco, I mean, you don't stand a chance. So for all of our entertainment's sake, our non-Colts fans' entertainment's sake, let's just hope that Anthony Richardson will at least take a week or two to sit down and really heal up so we can just get more of this perfect specimen at quarterback.
Unlimited diarrhea. Unlimited.
I think I took the bait, man. I took the bait on the Jets. I even made a whole video about them. I read books. I read newspapers. I even bought whatever the hell this thing was, full of all these old headlines, and everything I concluded from that video's research was that the Jets won't ever win shit. But still, I decided to suspend disbelief for just a moment. I thought that at worst, if Aaron Rodgers was a below-average quarterback, then the Jets could still make the wild card, because I thought their defense was going to be elite, no questions asked, and I'm not saying that's not on the table anymore, but do you know who Bo Nix is? He plays quarterback sometimes and isn't that good at it, and versus the Jets, he had, you know, a light -7 yards at halftime. Pretty average, right? And the Broncos won the game. This hasn't happened in years, where an NFL team has beaten somebody without over 60 passing yards, because Bo Nix only finished with 60, but it was enough. I mean, I could spend an hour picking apart everything wrong with the Jets this season, and this game in particular, but not yet, not yet. But in this game, and week in and week out with this team, Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson just need to be better. They can't just disappear because they have hard matchups. That is not what superstars do. And yes, I understand the weather was a little gloomy, but I don't give a shit. I guess this is what I should have expected from the Zach Wilson Bowl, because to honor the fallen MILF Hunter, we might have seen the single worst individual quarterback performance that's ever happened at MetLife Field, which, trust me, is saying something. Fix your shit, New York. I am begging you.
So moving forward, you will refer to Sam Darnold as Ginger Jesus, and I own fucking Lambeau Field.
The Darnold wants blood, and his thirst shall not be satisfied until all villages are pillaged and burned to the ground. I just can't believe it's happening still. The Minnesota Vikings, with the fall of the Bills and with the Chiefs looking vulnerable still, might be the best team in football right now. Still, I will take a healthy 49ers team as easily the best NFL team, but the Vikings have been dominant early on the season, and this game was no different. The Packers just let Sam Darnold get comfortable early on, and as you know, apparently, when Sam Darnold gets in the zone, it's over. And the Vikings just buried the Packers in Aaron Jones' revenge game 28-0, putting them in an inescapable hole with the return of Jordan Addison. And remember, the Vikings offense is doing all of this without TJ Hawkinson playing. But still, the Packers were right there, and they could have still won this game if they didn't melt down in the first half with a back-breaking false start leading to a shanked field goal if Jordan Love wasn't rusty to start, and if they didn't miss another field goal. This could have been a true shootout, but the Vikings' lead was just too much early on, and once again, Sam Darnold has proved to just be a late-game killer, and they've established a commanding lead in what's becoming the most competitive division in football in the NFC North. So, as of now, nobody should want a piece of Minnesota. I am going to lose my f***ing mind, Jacksonville. It's a cliche and a half, but it's real. With this team, man, the Jaguars keep one-upping themselves, and there's no end to this lunacy in sight. None. This game deserves a 7-hour film breakdown, a eulogy, and a benzodiazepine prescription. Crimes, I tell you. Crimes were committed. The offense for Jacksonville started off solid. This was a game that I predicted was actually going to be close, but I was surprised how well the Jags defense was doing, especially with how badly the plague has gotten them too. But then the switch flipped. The Texans, who had been keeping up with the Jags offense, began to shut down along with the Jags offense, but it was a whole different type of shutting down for the Jags. The Texans were just calling questionable plays, and Stroud was missing throws, which should deserve more blame, but back to what I was saying. Because if I was forced to take a cough drop for every time the Jags hand-delivered the Texans the win, I'd be dead by the next morning. In the third quarter, if Christian Kirk gets this bomb, the Jags probably win the game. If Strange catches this ball, the Jags win the game. If Lawrence doesn't take the sack, you get the idea at this point. And if they just converted this fourth down after the huge Bigsby run, they'd be chillin'. Then they allowed another 3rd and 18 to the fourth-string kicker, which, you know, didn't really end up mattering technically, but foreshadowing for later. And it's just so annoying, man. The pieces are still there for the Jags. They just can't play as one unit. They just can't fucking do it. And eventually, Stroud got the Texans driving, Nico Collins couldn't even be remotely contained, and Derry Ogunbowale with a revenge game-winning touchdown. Get me out of here, man. Pathetic showing, pathetic coaching, pathetic ownership, pathetic plays. I just can't do it, man. I can't take this team anymore.
Yes.
Come on. Well, why do we have to keep giving Tom the boring games? He needs sustenance, because this game was a beatdown worthy of Chris Brown's right hand, and it sucks because this game could have been fun, but the football gods said no, and smited down Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, and more to cripple the Eagles way past fighting shape. And the Bucs came into this game like it was just target practice, and Baker got back into prime Cheesecake Factory form, demolishing the Eagles' defense. And besides Saquon Barkley almost single-handedly bringing the Eagles back into the game because he can do the whole football thing better than most, this game had zero tension. Greg Ward and Travis Fulgham did not have a good day, and things got so bleak that Sterling Shepard was playing and catching passes in 2024. You know, I'm just glad to see the man is employed these days. So, I don't know, what more do you want me to say? An injured team beat a far more injured team, and that's really it. But the Eagles, I don't know, they might have some issues on the horizon if this keeps up.
I have nothing! Alright, it's all gone!
It still just makes me sad to watch this Rams team play, man. I mean, this was a team that, when healthy, was going blow for blow with the Lions. But as we know, I'm not going to keep saying it, but injuries have just taken their season away already. And this game devolved into Matthew Stafford versus the entire Bears team. And turns out the Bears are a little bit better than Matthew Stafford alone. And with constant pressure on Matty, combined with no receiver talent whatsoever, this just made the Rams' offense sporadic at best. And meanwhile, Caleb Williams just keeps improving. I would say this was probably his most comfortable game as a pro, but he still has some ironing out to do. I was not ready for the DeAndre Swift breakout game, man. The dude was the most inefficient runner in football, and he just went nuclear out of nowhere. So I guess the Bears will take it just to make their running back backfield even more confusing, and in the end, they were able to overcome their penalties, but they're going to need to play a lot more consistent, just like they just did this last week, if they're going to want to keep up with the Vikings, Lions, and Packers, because, like I just said, this division is an absolute warfield. Well, they did it. Against all odds, somebody took down the mighty Panthers, who just clearly can't be beat with Andy Dalton. Nobody can defeat the Panthers except for his old team, and I was really hoping that the Bengals would lose by 30 for, any chance that I could recover whatever fragments of my happiness were left on the floor, but no. Turns out, the Bengals are probably better than what we expected them to be last week because the Commanders are also better than we expected too. So, I guess the Panthers looked kind of meh in this game. They didn't flash anything crazy, but they did fight all game long, and they didn't quit, with the overall team body language and vibe just seeming way better than it did 2 weeks ago. And I feel like the team feels as if they have a chance to win whatever football game they're involved in. And be honest with me, because I honestly want to know how you feel about this. Do you think Bryce Young feels good when Andy Dalton scores a touchdown and the whole team is jumping up and down and celebrating? I mean, sure, he's probably putting on a smile and dapping up his teammates and all that, but he's definitely got to be a little depressed on the inside. And if anything I just said is even remotely true, this just seems like a horrible situation for any development that could be left in his tank. And I think that's why Dave Canales was so apprehensive about benching Bryce Young, because once they did it officially, there was no going back. So, for Bryce Young's sake, I hope the Panthers trade him for a 4th round pick in the next month or so, because Bryce Young's career is just rotting away right now. If I was watching this game with a Browns fan, we would just both be taking turns laughing at ourselves when we weren't dozing off from the 8 Benadryl that are legally required to be qualified to watch these abomination of teams, man. This game, like every Raider game so far this year, outside of 7 minutes of the Baltimore game, was boring as hell, and add on the colossal amount of injuries for both teams, including us missing our 2 best players, and that's how you get one of the worst games of the week. But the game seemed to be in the bag for us. Trey Tucker really has something in him. The dude, honestly, maybe better than he who shall not be named ever could be, and should have had an even better day if Minshew didn't have his worst game as a Raider damn near, but hey, I'll take it. The Browns have no talent on offense, so as long as we can just run the clock out with Alexander Mattison, this should be a free win and we can move on.
3rd down and 1. They do get a good push. Ball is out. Fumbled and scooped up by Cleveland. And into the end zone goes Rodney McLeod.
Oh god, it's happening again. We didn't even activate Deshaun's weakness policy yet by kicking him in the fucking eye, but I feel it. We're going to out-Raider the Browns. It's gonna happen. Just please, whatever you do, if Deshaun is about to pass the ball, do not hit him while he's passing. He will torch us. Do not.
Watson buying some time. Wide open. Cooper on the run at the 50-yard line. To the 20. Flag down at the line of scrimmage.
Offense, number 53. After this is to the goal. First down.
Thank God. Was this a penalty? I don't want to answer that question, but yeah, it probably wasn't. But we take those. So now, because our offense obviously isn't going to do anything, we just need the defense to come through for the 9th time in this game, which didn't. Jerome Ford got the Browns into a great position with momentum, and then the center just randomly snapped the ball. God, I love the Browns. But wait a minute, let's all calm down because it's 4th down. But in this moment, something just didn't seem right. Like I've seen this before. Like I've been in this spot. No, don't do it again, Deshaun. Deshaun, don't.
Watson looking Cooper's way. Pressure coming. He scrambles and is taken down.
We won. A fantastic win. No, it really wasn't. I'm going to be honest. Like I said, with the Giants-Cowboys game, we saw 2 bad teams, but these 2 teams were just awful. I am not even a little bit satisfied, and I just have a sinking feeling in my stomach that in a week or 2, Crosby could be put on IR and Devontae could be a Jet. So, I mean, I don't know. Both of our seasons are over, but we won. Yay. Breaking news, everybody. The Patriots are still terrible, and the 49ers are still pretty good, despite just... It's happening again. This is how it's gone. This is the price of the Shanahan way, apparently. It happened in 2020, and it's happening again. Everything is collapsing around the Niners. Injuries in practice, and even when your best player is still out there making plays, like, I'm dead serious, Fred Warner is still probably the best player in football. Even he is getting injured. So it's all just crumbling. But they're still winning games, and the Patriots are still a terrible football team, and anyone can be plugged into this Shanahan scheme and succeed, especially against a team as terrible as the Patriots. So, I mean, what else is there to say? New England is awful. The 49ers aren't. They just need to get healthy, and like I said way earlier, they're still the best team in football. Revenge is a sweet, sweet thing, isn't it? Everyone was expecting this game to be a shootout, but Kliff Kingsbury had other plans. He created a masterclass today. And Jaden Daniels, I'm sold, man. I really am sold. I was doubting him in like week 2 versus the Giants, but now this guy's special. The Commanders have officially 100% without a doubt, unless the RG3 thing happens again, have found their franchise quarterback. Jaden was amazing again. He is having one of the best starts to an NFL career ever after CJ Stroud did the same thing last year. It's truly special to watch, and I feel honored to watch him play right now. But on the other side, Kyler, this is why the NFL has just been so confusing so far. Kyler Murray, once upon a time, picked apart the Rams defense. Then the Rams defense held on to beat the 49ers, and then Kyler got clamped by the Commanders defense. One of the worst defenses we've ever seen. I don't know what else to say. It's like the Cardinals are a different team week in and week out. Maybe next week they'll be amazing, maybe they'll be terrible. Who even knows at this point? But one thing's for certain, this defense is truly abhorrent. So, enough said, probably. I mean, the Chargers just can't compete in the state. They just can't compete. The whole O-line is injured along with the quarterback, and that's the entire soul of the Harbaugh way. Run it hard and play good defense, and when 50% of that doesn't work, the whole thing doesn't work. Because while the Chargers defense was actually playing pretty well, the offense was not. And that's not enough to beat the defending Super Bowl champions, who, although won the game, would love to play this game all over again, because Patrick Mahomes made one of the worst plays you'll ever see, throwing a pick, sailing it way over his man, then leveling Rashee Rice's leg, and now one of the best receivers in the NFL is out for the season. Fantastic job. I mean, that's just a real tough break for the Chiefs. Nothing really else can be said. And this is also a team that's dealt with a ton of other injuries, with Hollywood Brown out for the season and Pacheco potentially also out for the year, so I mean, they might want to hit up the Raiders and see if we'll give them Devontae, or maybe ask Amari Cooper how he's feeling in Cleveland, because I don't think Juju and Mecole Hardman and Xavier Worthy is going to be enough to win a Super Bowl. Probably.
Long live the king.
What the hell is happening? The Bills are getting blown out? Can the NFL just make sense for a week? We were all convinced that the Bills were going to be the easy runaway Super Bowl favorites, with Josh Allen winning the MVP almost unanimously, but Derrick Henry is a grown man. I doubted him this season. I really did, but Jesus, dude. He looked good. Real good. The blocking was also elite all game long, and Henry's breakaway speed was there. And this game was never even close for a second. The only time the Bills had a chance to come back into the game was when Lamar fumbled, but the Bills instantly did nothing, and from there, the Ravens just ran away with the game. I still can't believe the Bills got blown out. The Bills lost by 40 damn near to a team that got defeated by the Raiders. What even is football anymore, man? It doesn't make sense. If it weren't for this being my job, I wouldn't watch this game at all. This was a pathetic product put out on the field. Neither quarterback threw for 100 passing yards. Neither one of them. It was just not a fun game to watch either. I've said it all recap long, but just the injuries have been so devastating. It's taking the life out of so many games. And even just watching a guy like Jalen Phillips go back to the locker room is it's not something I want to see. And Neither is watching Tyler Huntley play football, man. He is so terrible, and every time he throws a pass, it just becomes even more perplexing how this man ever made a Pro Bowl. I just feel gross even talking about this game anymore. Can we just move on to the good one? What an amazing game this was. It was very reminiscent to that Monday night Rams-Chiefs shootout from way back in the day, just with a little bit more ref ball, but we'll get there when we get there, because for the majority of this game, the Seahawks were actually playing really well, but they just couldn't keep up. Monty and Gibbs were absolutely dominant, and Monty himself had one of the best plays that I've seen in a long time. I mean, holy f***, Devin just got flattened here, and all game long, Ben Johnson was just absolutely in his duffel. It was an incredible display of offense. I forgot what a good offense looks like, so to watch like the Philly play happen and just all the ways that he schemed his players wide open, it was just beautiful. And an amazing palette switch up from what we got from the Dolphins, because this game just kept on delivering. Once again, when Seattle just looked dead, they came right back. Geno Smith was having an amazing game, completely overshadowed by Goff having a perfect game, but he was great. And then the entire game changed when, after the Kenneth Walker touchdown, which was already a little bit questionable if he got in, the Seahawks went for two and actually got it. DK Metcalf made one of the best catches of the week, but the refs just didn't review it. You know, it's in the rule book that they have to, but nah, let's just not. And the Seahawks then decided to throw a fade on the one, and then the game was seemingly just over after Jameson Williams got that touchdown. So, I mean, there's massive positives for both sides. The Lions' offense went absolutely nuclear. Everyone played amazing, and if their offense can do that and their defense can be, like, okay-ish, you know, better than what they were on Monday, then this team could very easily win the Super Bowl. And then for Seattle, the defense was already very injured, so that was always going to happen because, of course, there's injuries. It's week 4 of the NFL season. It's just a standard at this point. But if the offense can do what they did too, then, hey, they're going to give the Niners some trouble this year. And I mean, they could have actually won this game if DK also got this PI call because he got attacked in the end zone. Why didn't they call that either? I don't understand. One of the refs must have been going against DK in fantasy or something. It was some ref ball that overshadowed a still amazing game, but, you know, still a fun one overall. But before we go, you know what time it is. It's time for the Tubfrog Discord Awards, where I turn to you, the people, to see what you thought were the best and worst individual plays and players from Week 4. And without further ado, let's begin. I asked what the best play was from Week 4, and it was pretty easily the Lions-Philly special to Jared Goff. It was a pretty cool play. You know, Monroe threw a dot. Goff was, you know, didn't have the greatest form, but he caught the ball, and they scored, and honestly, I probably would take Monty's play over that one, but, you know, it's close. And then I asked what the best game was from Week 4, and it came down to the wire. But Seahawks versus Lions was able to take it out, and Monday Night Football is just, it keeps going. It keeps delivering with the classics. And then I asked what the best individual performance was from Week 4, and Derrick Henry just reclaimed the throne. I mean, he looked good. He looked quick and powerful, and if he can keep that up, then the Ravens are going to be maybe the best team the AFC has to offer. And then I asked what the worst team performance was from Week 4, and it was close between the Dolphins and the Dolphins, but Miami edged them out. It was, I still don't even want to talk about what they did. And then I asked what the worst individual player performance was from Week 4, and yep, Tyler Huntley with an overwhelming defeat of everyone else. He's really bad. And then I asked what the best Minecraft parody was, and it went to Fallen Kingdom. You know, a classic. I can't disagree, but me personally, I'm more of a don't mind at night, take back the night kind of guy. But to each their own. And anyways, if you like this video, then subscribe, because I got a lot of videos on the channel just like this one. And if you did like this video, then watch this video I just did a few weeks back on Eli Manning and whether he deserves to be a Hall of Famer or not. It's pretty good, trust me. And thanks to all my Patrons for pledging $1. It truly does mean a lot. But anyways, until next time.